Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Apex Racing. It is myself, Zabi, and we are live with another round to bring you all some brilliant racing action. We were last time out at Interlagos. There was some great racing out there as well, as we are just getting started to go into this one, and we're only a few minutes away from qualifying, as in fact we are now getting ready for qualifying, as it is going to be 15 minutes of qualifying. So the format is 15 minutes of qualifying, then race 1, and then reverse grid of race 1 is race 2. So that is how the grid is set up. First qualifying, then race 1, then the rest of that is going to be race 2. So just before we get started, let's have a look at the championship standings for you. Let's have a look at the driver's title just before we get started. A brief look at what to expect and what not to. So plenty leads ahead of GT in P2. Plenty racing for the Highland Farmers, and Project GT. GT is racing for 290 for Mr. Planny in the lead, then 269 for GT in P2. Ryan Cooper with 202 points to their name in third place. Then comes Mateus GT in fourth place. Had their best ever weekend of the season so far. Last time out, winning both the races in Brazil, leading from the top. One from pole position, the other from the back of the grid. Then in P5 comes Leo with 159 points. Not much separating between Leo and Mateus. Only a couple of points. Then Kane in P5, followed by P6, followed by Nitu, who's not racing this weekend and is serving a race weekend penalty because of having a basically a penalty on 8 penalty points on his racing license, if I remember it correctly. Basically what it was. Basically, yeah, he's not racing for that exact reason. Then Monte Carlos, who is indeed racing with us this weekend on 86 points and only 2 behind Nidu. So he absolutely has an opportunity to get ahead of Nidu. Along with him, Smoke has that as well. 83 points for him, only 3 behind. In fact, 5 behind Nidu, so that's going to be interesting to see. One Parabud down after Smoke with 75 points. Then C Jones with 60 points to his name, unfortunately scoring none at the previous round in Brazil. Then comes in fact, I wonder if these are updated or not, because let me just have a look at it, because these are from November 10th, which... Alright, today's November 12th, alright, this should be updated. It was just a bit of an error. So for 60 points for C Jones, Numty for Nedbok Racing, 44 points for them. Team Page is going to be 39 points for them. Lubbock, 26. Then 6 points for Waz for Project GT, they would have raced for as well. Then D-Dog for Elite Racing, 1 point. Then Wolf, Bunny, and Zendro with no points. As let's not waste any time and get to qualifying, ladies and gentlemen, as 15 minutes of qualifying is going on, and we are ready to look at these guys set up some fast flying times, as almost every single one of them is on a outlap at the moment. And it is going to be GT, the man driving for Project GT, gets started and begins his flying lap. The first driver to start a flying lap. Let's go on board with GT at the moment, heading towards the S section, and one of the very trickiest section here around Suzuka, especially these curbs. If you take a little bit too much of it, you could lose out the car. From third to fourth now, into third again, as I'm not sure whether they're using the automatic gears or Richard manual gears, but Look at this one then, in fourth still, just on the exit, into fifth, should be getting into sixth as well, or do they? Yes, they do, and again braking just after the 50-meter board, still not braking too heavy around there, back to third on the exit, and into fourth, another heavy braking zone coming up. Where do they brake? That's going to be very crucial for them to not run wide and keep it nice and easy. Meanwhile, Monte Carlos is spun round, is going to be looking up for an opportunity, so he could get other, he could let others get past him. So that is interesting at the moment between these drivers. So actually, remember, with the update, there is some tire physics and tire handling changes, if I remember it correctly. So that is going to be a case as well, which you'd have to keep an eye on. Obviously, different things getting changed, but obviously drivers would have adapted to it as soon as possible. And everyone on that soft tire in this race, obviously, in this qualifying session, which everybody will be looking up to set it per time. So at the moment, it is GT, then it is RLD, and Numpty Ned behind him to go over the line. It is going to be GT, the very first driver over the finish line. 148.2 from him there. What about RLD? Right behind him, out on track. He's going to be coming over the finish line. 146.6. What a brilliant time from him. You know, Numpty Ned is going to go over the line. 147.2 from him as well. Brilliant time. You know, Kane goes P2 for Team Payne, I believe it was. Goes up to second place, 146.978. So brilliant times from others as well. Smoke 147.2. Numpty Ned's time still in P4. C Jones goes P5 at the moment, 147.52 for as well. GT 148.291. Definitely not one of the very fast times at all, and he'll have to go one more time for sure. One part would 148.4 as well in 8th place. The book for Netbook Racing 148.7, 148.739. Planty, your championship leader at the moment, hasn't put up a very quick lap time at all, at least for their first lap here in qualifying at Suzuka. P10 for them, 148.749. An absolute slow lap, but maybe they had some traffic. They got some traffic on their laps and maybe just unable to get a lap in altogether. The Highland Farmers, racing for the Highland Farmers. Then Page, Kane's teammate out there. I wonder if this is their livery, or again, their livery has not loaded up, because previous race, their livery specifically didn't load up for me as well. Ryan Cooper at third place in the Drivers' Championship, going around as well. P12 at the moment. Wolf in P13. The two teammates 13 and 14. Monte Carlos, the only driver without a time on board at the moment. What about RLD at the moment in P1 so far, is leading up ahead of everyone in qualifying. Do they go onto the finish line? They do. They will not be getting any improvement at all, and understandably so, in the way that obviously this is the flying lap. So they would rather treat this as a prep lap and then again go over the line to improve. So Nedbock, Numpty, meanwhile Ryan Cooper goes P3 up to the top 3. There was a decent lap time in the end for them. Meanwhile, we're going to try and find where is Planty. Okay, he's in P11 at the moment, definitely into the pits and to get a new set of tires. He's going to try and get a new set of those soft compound tires, of course, and as soon as those tires are ready, we're going to be going, they are eventually going to be going racing once more, and they will be going out once again here in this qualifying session, and really ready to put a lap on in. At the moment, drivers are improving, drivers are finding some personal best times, but nobody is yet getting closer to RLD at the moment. We're nearly 7 minutes in this session now, so seven and a half, almost 8 minutes would still be remaining in this session. About as it's a 15-minute qualifying, so a session for these drivers to treat nice and easy. Session that we will see them go around brilliantly. So that is going to be brilliant then. So for RLD at the moment, it's still in P1. 3/10 behind is Kane. Exactly 3/10. That is absolutely brilliant. And about 3.1 is Ryan Cooper behind these guys at the moment. So RLD, is he going to be improving? Do they go into the pits? Yes, they do. So eventually they did another lap but now again into the pits and straight in for a set of soft compound tires. And as soon as those softs are on that car, they're going to be getting back out on track to do a time even better than their previous one. Ryan Cooper can't do it. What about Smoke, as they've just started their brand new one at the moment then race. So these drivers, obviously, I was told that the tire wall doesn't mean anything in terms of how much tire wear or grip they've got, but tire wear you could say still, because Smoke is sure still out on track, but some of those who had pretty much red on their tire wall did decide to pit. So eventually, obviously, I'm not saying that it does mean anything if it doesn't, but eventually, you know, at the end of the day, it might just mean something, you know, in terms of it's there. I mean, at least it's there for a reason. But I mean, there we go. So looking at things, drive is closing in, obviously almost eight and a half minutes now in this session, and everyone looking to find a time, everyone looking to find a time better than their previous one. And at the moment, anybody closer to the end of that line, to the finish line at the moment, GT in P7 at the moment on a set of brand new soft compound tires. Ryan Cooper is going to be the next car ahead, and eventually very close ahead of to that finish line. Just there's one car ahead of him, and that is eventually Smoke, who might have had a penalty or something, but eventually he doesn't at the moment. Is he improving? Is Smoke improving on his time? And he's been out there and probably hasn't pitted, so he's relatively on older tires, so maybe he does not eventually improve on his time. But where does he go? Does he stay out? No, he doesn't. It is going to be Ryan Cooper into the box as well, so along with Smoke, and Numpty Ned is on a outlap at the moment out of fitting those brand new tires. And Mateus GT in P7 at the moment goes a little bit wide, in fact goes very wide, nearly onto the gravel trap, and that definitely would have slowed his process down and might just make his car. And look at that, his teammate now going around as well in the grass, comes back out on track, and he's going to be heading nearly saves it up and just about keeps it out of the wall and away from it. But that might or might not just have been facing the wrong way, really, had he not saved it up in no time, and had he not saved it very quickly, he might have just ended up being on the wrong part of it. Meanwhile, drivers improvements we talk about, it has to be Monte Carlos, who puts the time very good, only 26 milliseconds slower than RLD in pole position so far. So 1:46.704 is the fastest time of the session so far. Sorry, it's MP second fastest time of the session. The fastest time is 1:46.678. And four drivers, eventually 5 drivers, all top 5 in 1:46, and one Para Wood goes 1:46.993. So very competitive times from these drivers. Now I wonder if the track is improving, or we are gonna get, or in fact getting, any track evolution at the moment in these ending moments of qualifying, as we're 11 minutes in and the 12th minute has started. So not a lot now, ladies and gentlemen, remains before the end of the qualifying session. And Mateus GT currently in P8, looking for some better times, can't keep it on track. Once more find themselves towards the gravel, and that might just slow their process of getting another lap in even more. So their teammate GT out on a lap now, and Kane has set up a fastest time, and in fact they have set a fastest overall time of 1:46.5. That is a brilliant time for them, and are we gonna whiz it to the finish line? And it has to be Mr. Planny, MRL Planny, over the line to start their flying lap, which should be the last couple of laps if they continue on straight up. They currently find themselves in P13, so they desperately will be looking up for a good lap. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, they are your drivers' championship leader, so definitely your leader on round 10 of a championship like this. You would not want to have such a weekend where you don't qualify good, and obviously, you know, it's going to be reverse grid even if they win Race 1, Race 2 is going to be great, reverse grid, but it matters a lot, especially the confidence that you get, the confidence that eventually you'll get, you know, by simply qualifying at the top, at least maybe not on pole position, maybe not very fast, but at least stay within the competition. And they are improving 1.3 seconds they find on this representative lap, which hopefully they'll be hoping that's going to be a very good one and representative enough so far. What about others closer to the end of this lap, to the end of their lap? And it's going to be RLD, the man who held pole position for a while. It's going to towards the pit lane now, so this might be their final stop at the moment. What about other drivers closer to the end? Is going to be Numpty Ned, can't find an improvement. What about Smoke, currently in P6, needs over 7/10 to the next car, can't get it, doesn't get it at all. Other couple of drivers, Smoke in P7, and a couple of other few drivers closer to the end of their lap. And it's going to be Pliny who we are back to once more. They were fun. They'll come starting their flying lap, and they're going to be coming to the end of their flying lap and over the finish line. That is good, but only good enough for P6. So definitely they will be looking to go again, and they will indeed be going again. Unfortunately, for them, I mean, P6 is not bad, but for a championship leader who's looking to set the program, who's looking to set their tone in for a victory here at Suzuka or any other circuit, that we are just getting started. So eventually that might not be enough for them, even personally. Meanwhile, GT puts up a time to go P3 for them, and only a 10th and 1.9 tenths down to the next car. So they still need a little bit of an improvement, but might have just had a very good one so far. So One Parawood in P8 at the moment would be looking up for an improvement as well. So only 30 seconds now remain. Whoever crosses the line will be starting their lap about right now. And anybody who crosses the line right after the 15-minute mark, they will not be taking the checkered flag and won't get to start their flying lap. With only a few seconds remaining, GT is going to be your next car to the end of this lap, and it is going to be their final lap, this one, eventually, as qualifying's over and over to the finish line. They can't find an improvement, and everybody now will be on their final lap. So eventually those who started will be, and those who didn't will be coming to the pit lane, and they'll have to come into the pit lane as the end of qualifying is near, and all those who go over the line will be their final chance. Meanwhile, Mr. Plenty at the end improves and takes pole position, unless Monte Carlos could deny him, and he nearly denies him by only 45 milliseconds there, 400ths of a second. Monte Carlos is left out on pole position. 146.444 and 146.489 was a time from Carlos there. And brilliantly done, ladies and gentlemen, there. As at the end of qualifying, it is excellent lap time from these drivers. And that is coming to the end of this qualifying session, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be ready for race 1 in a few moments' time. And that was a brilliant qualifying session, ladies and gentlemen. 14 drivers out here, we're missing one. It is obviously Nitu, who is serving a race weekend penalty after having 8 penalty points on his racing license, I believe. And there we go then. This is, ladies and gentlemen, going to be the colour grid for race 1 here at Suzuka. So Mr. Plani takes another good pole position and shows yet again why he's leading the championship. And it was not a bad lap from Monte Carlos as well. It was an excellent lap from him at the end, just denied by the brilliance of Plani at the end of qualifying. But a good lap from Monte Carlos as well, followed by Kane in P3, a very good lap for him as well. Then comes RLD in P4, followed by GT, Ryan Cooper, followed by Mateus, GT, and then one Borrowwood in P8. Then comes Smoke, followed by, and then C. Jones completing out the top 10, just outside Numpty Ned, Page, LeBook, Plays, and Wolf Club, who's the teammate of Ryan Cooper. So that, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be ready. We should indeed be ready at the moment, as these cars are now ready. The drivers have got what they need, and we are ready what we should know, and eventually we are ready to go racing. So it's 25 minutes of racing, I believe, which should equal to 16 laps of the Suzuka Circuit, and the weather is going to be variable as well, so we might or might not see rain eventually. So it's going to be interesting whether we see it or not. But alright, I was choosing the weather radar with my mouse, my computer mouse, which obviously was not going to be relevant at all, and I relatively have no idea what basically rain means on this game, but because simply I don't really play it myself a lot, as compared to F1, which I myself play and eventually started playing it, and only then started commentating. But now the race will start shortly, ladies and gentlemen, and we are ready, absolutely ready to go racing. Let's hope everything is ready. My mic is all okay as well, and we should be in for a great one out here. So there we go then. We are ready, and we should be going racing in any time soon now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get started and get ready for this one. There's going to be 5 red lights, and we go racing here at Suzuka. It's going to be a good start for Plenty. It's going to be a decent start for Carlos as well. Then RLD held it hanging in there, heading towards turn 1. It's going to be a nice one between the top 2, as Ariel is going to go super wide, as it's going to be Carlos who takes the lead of the race, and he's going to go very wide. Plenty down in P9. He's went absolutely, is it a shocker of a start. He got a very good launch off the line, but heading towards turn 1, he absolutely went wide, and he's definitely not will have to do a lot to recover from this. Meanwhile, at the back, Ryan Cooper's trying to gain a place on one Borrowwood into P5, and GT in P3 with RLD in P2 and Carlos in P1 as he's taken the lead as soon as Plenty ran wide. He did not waste any time at all. Definitely that pressure from Carlos was there since the launch off the line, but eventually heading towards that long right-hander. It was a hard one for him to defend, and in the end he couldn't quite do it. Meanwhile, GT might be in a little bit of a pressure with Kane in P4 anytime soon. Kane might try and go for it, or maybe Ryan Cooper, who doesn't wait a little bit. So look at this one Borrowwood in P7, P6, followed by Plenty in P7. Then comes Smoke in P8. Mateus in P9. I wonder if he's lost a couple of positions with Numpty Ned in P10. LeBook in P11. So these drivers in a race of their own. Eventually, Wolf and LeBook with C. Jones and Page down in P13 and 14. Let's go to the top, and let's go to the back of full front of the field. Kane is already past GT, and RLD might be putting all that pressure on Carlos there as we were just exploring through the field. GT was overtaken. RLD might be in a bit of pressure as he is gonna be, he might not be in a pressure, but rather he's gonna be putting all that pressure of it in the end, as he is in P2 at the moment, but not far behind, not far behind all these guys at all. The leader, 3/10 between the top two, and anytime now, a little bit of a mistake from Carlos is going to let RLD to get through. Any opportunity, just like Carlos took from Plenty's mistake, RLD will be taking from his mistake. So definitely he has to do some good driving and calculated driving, you'd have to say, because otherwise it could be pretty bad if you make a couple of more mistakes. Meanwhile at the back, a little bit of a more of a battle could be on between these two guys, as Ryan Cooper and Juan Parawood within 1 second of each other as well. Just 5/10 for Brian Parawood to Ryan Cooper. 1.4 seconds behind is Smoke, and he's also just 3/10 ahead of Mateus GT, who's about 9/10 ahead, 5/10 ahead of Numpty Ned. Meanwhile, Plenty is down in P10. He's had a shocker of a start, and I wonder if mistakes keep coming on for him, because as far as I remember, he had the recovery. He went down to P7, and he lost out even more positions, so definitely he's going to have to do a lot of hard work to recover. Meanwhile, at the top, we're going to be back at it, and Monte Carlos is going to have to do another couple of corners to defend, and defend it like a lion, because that position is going to be in pressure and not in, rather in contention, and that chance of grabbing it with both hands, RLD will be looking for it, and anytime soon he gets that, he will be taking it in no time. We're only 3 laps in as well, so that is now interesting, but maybe the field is just moving away. So the drivers starting, Carlos, RLD, Kane, GT, are all on a set of soft compound tyres, and this little pack of top 5 then eventually in their own, and the gap is now more than 5 seconds, more than 1 second between these drivers. And then from GT, the top 4 is on a set of soft tyres, and medium tyres on Ryan Cooper's car. On the exit, also a little bit of a slide. Soft tyres again to Smoke on Smoke's car, followed by softs on Mateus GT as well. He might be looking up for a move on Smoke. He might be looking up for a move coming up soon on Smoke, as Numpty Plenty on Plenty on a set of softs as well. But and in fact a move would have been coming, and the move has been done. The moment we switch up to look at other cars, it is again Mateus GT who gets past Numpty Ned, and Ned Bock is going to lose another position to Project GT's car, and brilliantly done from Mateus, who rather looked very, very dominant around Brazil. Might just have to do a little bit more of a work, or more of a hard work around here, which I'm sure he will be trying to do. He'll be trying 100% to eventually do what he is supposed to do, and what he would want his team to do, and himself to be doing as well. So back to the top, Monte Carlos over 1.7 seconds, almost 1.8 seconds now ahead of RLD, who himself is also over 1 second ahead of Kane, who's over 2.5 seconds ahead of GT. GT might just be in a bit of pressure from Ryan Cooper, 8/10 separating the two, and now in a race which almost everyone from P1 to P9 is within over 1 second the gap, more or less, as Numpty Ned Leboeck is in fact going to let Numpty get past. I wonder if this is a tyre strategy. Leboeck on a set of hard tyres, which is interesting, because this is my first time seeing somebody use those racing hard tyres. T. Jones on a set of racing mediums, along with the Juan Parawood on a set of mediums as well. Page on racing softs, with Wolf on a set of hards as well. So different tyre choices from these drivers, as Wolf goes a little bit wide, and he might have just been chilling in the gravel there. As soon as we switched up, they're going to get back out on track, but they'll have to do a lot more of a hard work. So 4 laps in out of 16, as 5th lap is going to be beginning. and maybe not many laps are closer between these drivers now, as the drivers are kind of stabilizing. The race is kind of moving away in terms of pulling away from these drivers out there. So I'm actually going to open the comments and stuff now to see how it is all going. And thank you so much for all of you in the chat, and hope you all watching are having somewhat of a fun out here. As soon as some action comes out on track, we'll be there in front of your screens to let you have all the fun and all the enjoyment that we should have. As RLD leads now, Monty leads with RLD now in P2. And definitely now, only in a couple of laps, I think these drivers, especially those on racing soft tyres, should be coming into the pits for a set of different set of tyres, either be it medium or hard, but they will be coming in sooner rather than later, as RLD has lost out time, a lot of time, to the leader, and Kane is right behind him, right at the back of it. Meanwhile, there's going to be some battle, and that is going to be GT absolutely going wide and towards the gravelly wars as Smoke takes the place with right behind comes GT. Eventually GT was wide. There was two GT cars. It is Matthias GT and GT himself, 6 and 7 so far, but Smoke took that place in no time as soon as I looked up in the minimap, and for a little bit of a fight. By the time we switched up to it, the fight had been already over. You know, Page is over 32 seconds to the leader eventually, but 1 second to the car ahead of him, and it's almost an all black Aston. It's not an Aston Martin, it's a Nissan GTR from C. Jones there, so that is a nice livery, but eventually different livery and different tyre choices from these drivers. And now saying that some soft tyre runners are going to be into the pits, and they are, with Matheus in it along with another driver in as well. So Matheus is now out as well, followed by some other driver at the front. Meanwhile, C. Jones is MP11 as Page is MP12 and older tyres as well on those racing soft tyres. C. Jones on racing mediums, so they'll be staying out a little bit longer. Meanwhile, GT and One Parawood within 1 second of each other, within the overtaking range, as a lot could go wrong, but eventually, if they could keep it on track, and if they are keeping indeed it on track, which would be interesting as well. So eventually now we're looking at battles, we're looking at any drivers closer to each other out on track. This map, I'm looking at the mini map, but it's just a little bit different. Eventually it might not be any different as the battles are on, as GT is now getting closer to One Parawood, and in no time they might be just side by side. Is GT's going to be looking for an opportunity to overtake him, as they're going to be will to will between the two, as he's going to have the inside line. One Parawood, he's going to push GT a little bit wide. They're still going to be side by side. They do not make contact. GT round the outside, goes a little bit wide, nearly has a trip to the gravel, just comes back out on track and back onto track, but eventually unable to overtake, unable to keep up to One Parawood. But one more time when GT's back out on track, GT, it looks like, I wonder if he pitted or not. He might have pitted then eventually, as he finds himself in P10, and as soon as others pit, he might gain himself a couple of positions, with Numpty Kane and Monte Carlos from the lead of the race is into the pits now. Brilliant job, brilliant, as Monte is going to be coming right behind GT and One Parawood, so maybe these guys might have just not pitted just about right now, and eventually if GT has not pitted, that's when I would eventually believe that the tire wall doesn't really have any meaning, or it means relevant in terms of how accurate data it shows of the car and of the driver itself racing around. So that is going to be interesting. The fight between these guys is still going on. Anybody else around the circuit closer to each other, and that is going to be Monte and Matheus at GT, both of them having pitted, and Matheus on a set of softs with set of mediums of Monte Carlos, as that is going to be a bit of a difference, of course, in tyre grip, and Mateus might just be taking that advantage already. He's going to be on that hairpin on the inside line, trying to get a better exit. He might not got a better exit, but now on the straight, they're going to be will to will. Is it going to be Monty, or is it going to be Mateus, who's going to be late on the brakes? So Mateus has the inside line, and he's going to be through and ahead of Monty, but he's going to run super wide, and Monty's going to come back at him, and he's going to get past Mateus GT, and once more, Monty's going to get past him, and he gets the overtake done. Meanwhile, at the front, GT and One Parawood are fighting each other as well. GT hasn't been able to get past One Parawood anymore, just about yet. Monty has been able to get past GT and gets the job done, brilliantly done by him. And it's a Project GT sandwich for Monte Carlos at the moment, as these guys are still staying out at the front. Smoke has pitted, and Plenty is into the pits as well. The battles are on, the battles are out there for racing. One Parawood once more is going to be up at the front. RLD Ryan Cooper leads the Suzuka race here out and about at the moment. Round 10 of Apex Racing, ladies and gentlemen, here at GT7 Championship. One Parawood still staying out, still staying ahead of GT, but eventually Mateus is overtaken. In fact, GT is overtaking One Parawood, because GT at the moment, One Parawood at the moment in P5 ahead of Monte Carlos, who's ahead of Mateus GT. C. Jones in P8 at the moment. Then comes Page in P9, and Kane is going to get past his teammate already, eventually on a brand new set of tyres. Then that's only explanation you could have, as there's going to be a driver in the wall, and that is going to be Wolf. He's going to find himself facing towards the wall. I'm sure there were some faster cars behind him. I wonder if he was trying to make way for them and eventually ended up being in the wall, but that is interesting. I think Wolf might have just retired out of the race now, as Monte Carlos has the fastest lap of the race. Plenty currently finds himself in P13, which is interesting because he pitted a bit later than a lot of the other drivers and eventually finds himself in P13. Meanwhile, there's going to be Numpty Ned. He's going to try and get past Smoke. Numpty's going to be side by side. He's going to move to the left-hand side. They're going to be will to will. They both have the same exact car. They might not be the teammates, but they have the same Honda, and he's going to be through and ahead into 130R. Numpty Ned might be an opportunity for Smoke to go braking into the braking around the outside, but eventually doesn't get it done just yet. We're only halfway distance in this race, ladies and gentlemen. Lap 9 now begins for these guys as well. So 8 laps have been done. The first lap 8 laps over. The second 8 laps are going to be in. The second 8 laps are going to be on the way. Kane and C. Jones in P9. Meanwhile, there might be drivers, and that's going to be interesting. And these guys might have just collided, because Monte Carlos and Mateus are finding themselves facing towards the wall and wrong way. And Monty, who might have had an opportunity to win this race, might be regretting a move that he might have made. That possibly would be the reason these guys have ended up being there. These guys are facing the wrong way out there, which is absolutely not brilliant for them, as Monty's now going to try and get past Kane there. Can he do it? That's going to be a question of time. That's going to be what we're going to be asking, rather than what they can do or not. Meanwhile, being on the medium tire, staying out a bit longer, Ryan Cooper finds himself in P1 at the moment. He's just going to come into the pits, but the question is whether RLD will be able to get that undercut or not. And a couple of drivers still coming into the pits then, which I doubt they'd do a 2-stop. So still Page and One Parawood are out into the pits now, so definitely the medium tire would have allowed them to stay out a lot longer. I mean, there's some soft tire runners eventually have stayed out as well, so that is interesting to say the least. And now eventually RLD in P1 still leads, obviously, ahead of everyone. Lebuc in P2, that is interesting, as GT is now right behind Lebuc at the moment, and an opportunity for GT to get past could be on the way. Meanwhile, C. Jones is going to be fighting Ryan Cooper. C. Jones goes a little bit wide. There's going to be an opportunity for Ryan Cooper. Ryan Cooper is going to get past him and ahead of he's not his teammate, rather they're both in fellow GTR driver. That's all we can say, but of course, they are racing for different teams and different organizations or not, but just different teams. And Ryan Cooper has already got past him already on brand new soft tires that he's just pitted about right now. So those tires are going to be absolutely new, and the grip is going to be as crisp as it gets, as GT is past Lebuc now and into second place. GT there, and 10 laps in now in this race is GT. Meanwhile, RLD staying out on older tires. It's going to come into the pits once more. GT is going to continue on for the time so far, and Lebuc on those hard tires is now going to be in the pits, and a set of another brand new tires. Definitely be it for tires or be it for fuel. Drivers have to pit, you know. It's not always they'll be pitting for a set of for tires. They might just be pitting for a set of medium, or not medium, sorry, for a set of for just a little bit of fuel that would get them through to the end of the race. Plenty is in P9 at the moment. Lebuc might have just been into the pits as well, as Plenty is now P9 still at the moment, so that is interesting. He's going to try and get past these guys. Can he quite do it? Is another thing. So 11 laps, lap 11 out of 16, and other battles, eventually places out on track, and other drivers that we're looking at who we might just see get past, or we'll have an opportunity to get past one or the other drivers so far. So GT leads ahead of Kane in P2 with Ryan Cooper in P3. Ryan pitted, remember, just recently, so that is brilliant to see. And eventually Kane and Ryan, looking at the fuel gauge, if that's any accurate, so looking at the fuel gauge, I believe Kane and, at least for the fuel, Kane and Ryan Cooper are not going to be pitting. GT is definitely going to be pitting, and he'll be doing it this lap, as his fuel is eventually almost out in no time, and he might be doing slow laps if he doesn't pit this lap for fuel. And tires are ready as well, and I'm sure as he will take fuel, he'll take tires as well, as Mateus is going to come into the pits as well. So it's a bit overcast, and I wonder what exactly is going on, because I doubt they're going to pit for the rain tires. Obviously not, as it looks overcast, but still some parts of the track the sun is out, and still it is not raining at all. So Mateus is in once more, and the set of new tires along with some fuel in that car is going to be ready. And then Empty Ned in P11 pits in as well. C. Jones in P10, gaining a couple of positions with other drivers getting out of the way and pitting, as Lebuc and One Perwood are going to be at that fight. Meanwhile, GT ahead of them in P7 as well, so there might just be some nice fighting between these drivers coming soon. So stick to the screen, and wherever you are, just stay where you are, because the battle is about to get spicy. The battle might just be getting spicy here, as Page and Mateus in P12, L12 and 11 would be on the way as well. C. Jones is on a race of their own, so this little fight. Meanwhile, at the top, Kane and Ryan are in a race of their own, but Smoke, Monte Carlos, along with RLD, could be in there, and there might be an opportunity for RLD to get past Carlos. He doesn't get past Carlos just about right now, and maybe soon or later, or in fact soon, there might just be an opportunity for RLD to get past, as there's going to be eventually a chance for him, as Carlos is going to be looking to watch out. He's definitely going to have to watch out for, because for a moment, even there, you would have thought RLD's going to get past him. For a moment, you have thought that he's going to go for it on the inside line. He's going to send it on the inside line to get that move done. Maybe not that time, but what about now? There might just be an opportunity for RLD to get past. Doesn't quite go for it just about now. Well, driver to the back, remember, our pole sitter, Mr. Palanti, is down in P6 at the moment over a mistake he made at the start, and he's still recovering from that. He's still paying for that eventual mistake. About right now, lap 13 out of 16. So 13 laps in out of 16, and that is now going to be interesting to see what battles we really have. So obviously races, usually, you know, as drivers do pit stops and stuff, the race gets stabilized in terms of what we can fight and what not. 2.3 seconds between the top two, then Smoke in P3. That is some good position gains from Smoke there. RLD in P4, and Monty is right behind him, as RLD's already passed Monty, and an overtake position has been lost. So plenty GT are in a fight of their own. One per wood. In fact, GT's is just right behind GT, but over 1.1 seconds, so it might just not be easy for him to race as well. Burke, and then it was Mateos who's going to get past C. Jones, along with Page who's going to get past C. Jones as well. C. Jones was facing the wrong way and facing towards the tire wall, as he just might have just had a spin on that hairpin, on the exit of their hairpin. Especially that hairpin is pretty tricky to nail, and if you can't do it, you'll have to pay the big price of losing. Maybe if you have a big gap would be only maybe 1 or 2 positions, but if not, all those couple of positions and all that hard work you've done could just be undone by all of this in no time. So lap 14 out of 16 so far. P5 for Monty. Remember, Monty would have made a mistake as well. We just saw him spun round and while racing, so eventually he'll have to do a little bit more of a fight as well. So at the moment, considering things so far, eventually, so P1 for Kane, as P2 for Ryan Cooper. These two drivers look pretty set for positions eventually. 1.1 seconds from between Ryan Cooper and Kane Will, so that could be interesting to see. I wonder if it's Kane Will or it's just Kane 7 rather. It's eventually what basically we've got in there. All right, sorry about that then. So right, eventually this logo would have been invisible because of the lap times by these drivers. Obviously these are my social media, ladies and gentlemen. If you want your races to be commentated, if you want races to be made to life, get up to my Instagram, Zabi, Zabi_on_Mike3, or my Fiverr account you can see on the screen as well, Zabi_435. You could contact me there. So let's get back to the action once more. Lap 15 out of 16. And now fighting for battles, looking for battles out on track, as Planny is going to be in a bit of pressure from GT, and that is going to be him getting the job done and getting ahead of GT. But has he got the job done though? Because GT's still going to be within close range, and it's a Lexus versus a Honda. It's going to be interesting to see. Now heading towards turn 1. He's going to head towards the outside line, and he's going to get up there, but Planny just gets the better exit and gets up a bit of more of a boost. But does he though? Because he runs a little bit wide, and there's going to be an easy opportunity for GT to get past once more. They're going to be will to will between the two. An opportunity as Planny's pushed pushed by GT, and GT slows down a little, maybe to give him an opportunity as one part would arrives from behind, and now that tap that GT gave to Plenty might be a problem for Plenty even more, as now GT's going to get the overtake, so will one Parawood as well. The move is done, the eventual move from that he was defending P6 in is going to end up in P8 now for Plenty, and he's going to run even more wide, as that's going to allow more drivers to get past him. That is absolutely disaster for Plenty at the moment. Eventually, apart from the disaster at the start of the race, he was currently running in P6, and now he finds himself down in P9. That is absolute problem. He's got a penalty. He's going to slow down. So that is easily going to allow Matthias to get past him. And before even they could get to the penalty paying zone, he's going to make another mistake. And that will allow Matthias to get past. Not just yet, though, as he's going to have to do a little bit more of a hard work for him to get past. And he is going to be getting past him. And Plenty might just have to forget this race. And I mean, at this rate, you know, easy, you know, obviously, remember, it's reverse grid the next one, so he's down in already P10, so that might not, they'll give him a decent position for the next race, but might not be the base. So eventually, with only 13 drivers in, so that's going to be his, P1's going to be C. Jones, P2 Numpty-Net, P3 Page, P4 already is going to be, unless there's many points that he dies, or just 1 or 2 points that he wants to get at this point in this one. He may just slow down and maybe create himself a chance for the next race. You know, maybe make a mistake or slow down a little so he's overtaken by all those behind, and he is indeed going to be doing that, and we couldn't have called that off as Plenty. I wonder if it was pushed by Page or something, but he is going to be making another mistake and finding himself in the gravel and lose out another position. Unfortunately, he's just not having the race good at all, and eventually it's not any other driver, you know, it's not a driver that may be qualified once at the top or overall was struggling with the circuit. It's Mr. Plenty who leads the championship. He's your championship leader. He's been at the top. He knows how to be at the top, and he took pole position as well. But it was unfortunate couldn't get it to the end. And we are getting to the end of race one, and it's going to be Kane who's going to come over the line and win here in Suzuka round one, race one, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be RLD15 coming up second best to Kane and get second here at Suzuka. Ryan Cooper finishes just ahead of Smoke in P3. Brilliant finish to between these guys as well. And Monty, after making a few mistakes, enough for him in P5 as well. GT now fighting many cars and finishing up ahead of One Parawood and LeBuc in P6. That it is P7 for One Parawood, P8 for LeBuc, P9 for Matthias. So to the end of it, Numpty-Net completes the top 10 as Page in P11, P12 for C. Jones, and exactly what I was saying, Plenty P13 now. Sure, a very bad race and maybe worst of his whole race that he would definitely like to forget, but possibly just some positives. I mean, the only positive would be that he's going to be on pole for the next race. C. Jones now going to be over the line as well, and Plenty is going to be the final driver of the line, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the end of race one. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, as race one is over, and brilliantly done as we are here. So now the grid is going to be getting set up. So it's going to be a reverse grid of what just finished, and these are going to be eventually, no, as I was about to say, these are going to be your results, but no, they were not your results. And definitely as we're going to be readying up. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Race one is over here at Suzuka. Hope you all watching really got the action, really enjoyed all the action that has happened so far.